Hey, what's up guys, it's Liam or Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today we're going to talk about Reinhardt, who is currently struggling in the meta, although a very balanced hero at the same time. Today we're going to cover the concept of why Reinhardt is struggling right now, but also why this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Reinhardt has been so meta since the release of the game that it's a little bit refreshing to see things shift around a little bit. Now let me know in the comments down below if you've been struggling on Reinhardt. We'll go through his uses too, but let's talk about why Rein's struggling. And the reason is dive. The dive meta right now is so strong, and it's not necessarily even just dive, just multiple angles of approach. Reinhardt can only hold his shield in one direction, and when the damage is coming in from everywhere, it presents a lot of problems for him to deal with. And although it is scary for a flanker to be too close to a Reinhardt, getting that coordination with your team in order to really ball up to try and counter the dive comp is a struggle everyone will experience in solo queue, and it's actually a lot easier to throw on D.Va or Winston, because not only are they better at fighting all of the flankers, but they also have much higher movement options to deal with other threats as well. They are much better meta picks, and Reinhardt does struggle because of the current meta. Now if we approach this from another angle, let's look at it this way. What are the most meta DPS heroes now? They would probably be Genji, Tracer, Pharah, Hanzo, Widow. Oh wait, nearly all of the DPS, and a lot of them, when they can take these multiple different angles, don't feel threatened by Reinhardt. In fact, a lot of the time he just stands there being something for your team to feed off of to get more ultimate. And Ana isn't as good at healing him anymore, which is another reason this meta shifted so much from when Ana could heal absolutely everything. Well, now she can't bail you out of every situation as Reinhardt. Now don't get me wrong, he still has his uses on attack and on defense. You just have to be very, very careful when that is. It depends on the map in particular, and where I like to see Reinhardt used most of the time is on the tight angles, where there's not really all of these places the DPS can be coming from. So if you think King's Row last point or Route 66 final point, there's not many places for flankers to go, and if you take a Reinhardt and set up some really good positioning, that's where he can see really good use right now. Another thing that Reinhardt is good at is, of course, brawling in these tight confined areas, again making him better. He can just swing his hammer, which is scary to a flanker if they have to be uncomfortably close all the time, which again they do in these tight situations. Another thing Reinhardt does win at is his ultimate. Because you're rarely going to see a Rein on both teams, having a Reinhardt on your team and not on theirs makes his Earth Shatter that bit better to land. Winston will always be harder to counter the Rein Hammer than another Rein shield would be, because the shield is up more often than the Winston one is. But apart from these niche situations where the enemy team are for some reason running Soldier and McCree and then not going around every possible flank to get you as Reinhardt, then yes, he's still usable, he's still there. But out in the open, if you're thinking a map like First Point Numbani and you're on attack, you can't go up to the high ground because it's just going to be sim spam there. But if you walk to the point, there's so many high angles for everyone to have, and so many angles and flanks and things for people to come from, that it makes Reinhardt's job nearly impossible right now. And Zarya is in a similar boat, although a little bit different. These two heroes can't get the use against the flankers that the other tanks currently being used are. If you was to ask me what the most meta tanks are right now, it's D.Va and Winston on defense and attack by a very long shot. Now I'm sure at some of the lower ranks this can vary. Both of these heroes are so much better with dealing with the threats. For example, if the enemy team have Pharah and Mercy, D.Va can not only fly up and do a bit of chip damage when she needs to, but she can block so much of that damage. Winston can also jump up and finish off a target when he has to. Winston and D.Va are also amazing at dealing with a soldier on the high ground, and Genji, well, if you're a good Winston player, you can counter a Genji nearly every single time. You also have threats like Widowmaker and Hanzo being played a lot right now, especially on attack, and if you're running Winston and D.Va again on defense, getting up and countering that Widow on the high ground in the back is just so much easier. If you imagine all of these scenarios I've just spoken about standing there as Reinhardt, well, what do? The answer is nothing but die. They take all of the angles and there's nothing you can do, and that is the problem with it right now. The only real way to get the use out of Reinhardt that you would want to in this current meta is if you are exceptional with him, taking him at the perfect time, standing on the high ground in the right positioning, falling back exactly when you need to, hitting miracle pins and earth shatters when they most matter. It isn't that he cannot be used now, guys, it's that he's really, really difficult. And in a lot of games, I've been convincing people more and more to run D.Va and Winston to a much better effect. Even when Rein may have been a better pick, he's just so much harder to play with all the multiple angles of approach that the enemy team are coming from. In conclusion though, guys, I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is the great thing about Overwatch, the fluidity of the meta that changes all the time, all these different things going on. I'm sure that once the dive meta dives down a little bit from some crazy nerf or buff or new hero that we're not expecting yet, Blizzard always throw these curveballs at us, and that will happen. And I'm sure that heroes like Reinhardt and Zarya that are currently struggling a little bit will come straight back into the meta. Reinhardt is by no means underpowered, definitely doesn't need a buff at all or else he'd be outrageous, but I thought it'd just be interesting to talk about how the meta works and how things change, and even how some really well balanced heroes can become really weak. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Have you been struggling with Reinhardt? If your team are, honestly, and there's loads of these threats everywhere, D.Va and Winston are a much better option. Be sure to check out our Twitter and our Discord where you guys can find the Reinhardt main of your dreams. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, that's also an option, and that'll be linked in the description. Make sure you hit that notification button so you guys know when our videos go live. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a great day as always. Take care and peace, people.